The chalk snapped in half the moment he said it. The sharp crack echoed through the lecture hall like something breaking that wasn't supposed to. A few graduate students laughed under their breath. One professor adjusted his glasses, smiling the tight, polite smile adults reserve for children who don't understand the room they've wandered into. And there he stood, 14 years old, dark brown skin glowing under the sterile white lights, shoulders thin beneath a faded navy blazer borrowed 2 sizes too big, tightly coiled hair cropped close to his head, fingers still dusty from the chalk he had gripped too hard. He had just claimed he could solve the equation that had split rooms like this for decades. Before we go further, pause for a moment. If you believe every story hides a lesson, even when it doesn't look like one at first, like this video, share it, comment below, and subscribe to Humanity Stories. You never know which story might change the way you see the world. The university auditorium smelled faintly of old paper and coffee grounds. Outside, autumn leaves scraped against tall glass windows. Inside, tension hovered like humidity before a storm. The board behind him was crowded with symbols, decades of attempts layered over one another, rewritten, erased, rewritten again. This problem had filled journals, fueled careers, divided departments. It was the kind of problem professors defended like territory. And now a black schoolboy from a public high school on the south side had walked into their symposium and said he'd solved it. His name wasn't important to them. They called him the kid. But to his mother, who was sitting in the back row in a thrift store coat she had ironed twice that morning, he was everything. She had left work early from the hospital laundry room to be there. Her hands still carried the faint scent of detergent no matter how much she scrubbed them. He hadn't meant to speak at first. He had only come to listen. His math teacher had fought to get him a seat in the audience after noticing the boy's habit of solving advanced proofs in the margins of his homework. While other students filled notebooks with doodles, he filled his with quiet rebellions, equations bending toward conclusions no one had shown him. When the debate on stage grew heated, when one gray-haired professor declared the problem fundamentally unsolvable within our current framework, something inside the boy tightened. Unsolvable. He had heard that word before. Unsolvable neighborhood. Unsolvable schools. Unsolvable statistics. His father had once told him that the world often mistakes hard for impossible. His father had loved numbers too. He used to spread graph paper across their kitchen table at night, showing him patterns in streetlights and bus routes and grocery prices. Then one winter, a factory layoff came like a quiet earthquake, and the graph paper disappeared under unpaid bills. The boy raised his hand before fear could stop him. Now the chalk was broken in his hand, and the laughter had faded into something sharper, expectation, almost cruel in its curiosity. He swallowed. His heart beat so hard he thought it might shake the board. He began writing. At first, they humored him. A few whispered. One professor leaned back with folded arms, studying him like an interesting experiment. The boy's handwriting was small but deliberate, symbols forming steady and precise. He didn't rush. He paused often, eyes scanning the earlier attempts covering the board, tracing the ghosts of failed approaches. He wasn't trying to overpower the problem. He was listening to it. The auditorium slowly grew quiet. The kind of quiet that feels accidental at first. A few graduate students stopped typing. A professor who had been scrolling on his phone set it down. Halfway through the board, a murmur rose, not mocking now, but uncertain. He had shifted the framework. He wasn't attacking the equation the way they had for decades. He had stepped sideways, reframing a key assumption so subtle it almost looked like nothing had changed. But everything had. The boy's mind wasn't crowded with academic pride or tenure battles. He wasn't protecting a theory he had published 20 years ago. He wasn't afraid of being wrong in front of colleagues. He was just curious. And curiosity is dangerous when it's pure. His mother watched his back straighten, his confidence replaced trembling. She had seen that posture before, when he fixed broken appliances at home with YouTube videos and borrowed tools, when he stayed up late mapping stars through their apartment window. The final line of symbols stretched across the board like a bridge. He stepped back. No applause. Not yet. The silence that followed felt endless. Professors leaned forward now. One stood up abruptly, walking toward the board. Another began flipping through old printed papers, eyes darting. Someone whispered, "Wait." The gray-haired professor who had called it unsolvable approached slowly, reading the solution line by line. His lips moved without sound. He erased one section, rewrote it, checked it again. The boy's chest tightened. Doubt crept in. Maybe he had missed something. Maybe he had misunderstood. The weight of the room pressed against him. He suddenly felt 14 again. Then the professor's hand, the same hand that had dismissed him with a smile earlier, began to shake. Not dramatically. Just enough. He turned around, eyes no longer amused. The room changed in that moment. Not with cheers. Not with celebration. But with something quieter and heavier. Recognition. It wasn't that a child had embarrassed them. It was that possibility had just walked in wearing scuffed sneakers. Word spread faster than anyone expected. Articles followed. Interviews. Headlines that tried to simplify what couldn't be simplified. Some praised him. Some questioned the validity. Some reduced him to a symbol.